Brought to you by the Grand Theater. This month, come see folk legend Arlo Guthrie and CBC's Jerry D. Visit www.kingstongrand.ca for more details.
Hi, this is Peter from Queen's TV here with Rob Fowler, former UN Secretary. His new book, A Season in Hell, 130 Days in Sahara with Al-Qaeda. It's nice to talk to you. Really enjoyed your speech on various humanitarian developments. I guess the main question for us is, what can students at Queen's do in terms of development of humanitarian aid as Canadians?
Well, the most obvious thing students can do, like anybody else in this country, is be generous. And they can be generous with their time and with their efforts, or they can be generous with money. Or, even better, they can engage their entire lives in the same process. And certainly at the conference tonight, I met a whole bunch of students who are engaged in development studies and absolutely committed to spending the rest of their professional lives pursuing those interests. I think it's admirable.
You can see it from a fiscal approach, or one of the more ethical approaches, and obviously people have their own opinions as to whether it comes down to money or it comes down to policy. And what would you say for students? Could they help out during policy lobbying in the government? Is that a particular issue, or raising money, would that be helpful?
I'm a diplomat, or was a diplomat, and there's an endless debate in diplomacy about whether Canadian foreign policy should be about values or about interests. And the answer, of course, it should be about both.
Yeah.
And there's a constant compromise there as you reconcile your interests with your values, and sometimes they're in conflict. Students generally don't have an awful lot of money, and therefore asking them to give what little they have while they're still students is, I think, probably asking quite a lot. So maybe then they should give some of their time. Should they lobby? Well, they should certainly make their views known.
So this was a big endeavor to set up this whole conference. How did you guys find the whole process?
During the summer, preparing for the conference was some of our busiest and kind of stressful moments, and we coped with having most of our exec on actually different continents in the world, on different time zones, and it's definitely only made it that much better to be here today and see the conference.
And how did you guys enjoy the conference tonight?
It was really interesting. It gave a new perspective on development, and obviously a very known speaker came to Queen's, which is a big deal.
Right, I have to go with him the same wavelength. He mentioned a lot of facts in developing countries. He gave a new insight into Canadian development funds and everything that's going in compared to American and European. So that's something that interests me. So I really wanted to know the facts, and he gave that.
Two of the key issues he discussed today seem to be about fiscal policy as well as ethics. Pertaining to this talk he just gave, which side would you more or less go with, or how would you interpret that?
I mean, it's a tough question, and I guess there's no answer really. But as a commerce student, I'm taught to be on the fiscal side, but as someone who doesn't enjoy commerce, I'm more on the ethical side.
Right. In the government sense, I do understand, sometimes government wants accountability, and in developing countries, when you're financing infrastructural projects and all, it's hard to take that into account. So yes, let's see how that works. I think ethics should be important. Canada, being a wealthy country, should help out other countries.
Were you more on the fiscal side, or were you guys more on the ethical side in terms of the sanctions?
I think it depends really on sort of what the issue is that's being approached, but I do agree with Mr. Fowler and his approach in taking it on more of developing from a local side of things and using the country that is in need of development and their opinions and their approaches as opposed to our own.
I guess to try to summarize his speech is he definitely argues for Canadians to actively be involved in development abroad, but also under the condition and under limitations imposed by regulating bodies, and to make sure that in terms of especially extractive industries that they're held to the highest degree of international standards.
Well, we weren't hit by recession as bad. Like he kept on mentioning this point. So if we are like doing fairly well on our financial side, we should stick to it. We should. I think we've done well. We should stick to reducing all this financing other countries. I don't think that's a good idea. It's not a very popular one. I mean, from other perspectives, it can also deteriorate. Like it could reduce like foreign direct investments, other governments. Policy. It's a lot of things related to it, so Canada should really revise it.
As execs for QIDC, what are your aims and ambitions for development in terms of your capabilities this year and for ensuing years in the future?
I mean, we're both studying development and both graduating this year, so really we just want to get in there, both thinking about grad school, but I think really just being able to take from the QADC experience and also really the entire Queen's development community as a whole, what we've learned, and be able to go away feeling able to apply that in real world settings is definitely something I'm looking forward to.
What do you guys feel like you could achieve in terms of development or humanitarian endeavors, like as a result of conferences like this?
Yeah, I mean, again, it gives a lot of insight on what we can do. It kind of motivates you a bit more and gives you the practical implications of what you're studying, in my opinion.
Right. I think like one of the things he mentioned today was there has to be consistency. If you want to develop, like Canada has to be consistent and has to have a longer vision. It seems right now they're changing their trend in terms of their goals. So let's see what they decide and they stick to it, and let's see how the future Canadian generations can contribute to that.
I'm very proud to see Canada being a leader in investing in the third world in the resource industry.
When it comes down to the interest in these issues, I mean, it's really important to have conferences such as this one, and very wholehearted speeches that are very practical, and they address the real issues of this problem. Students coming together in movements like this, it's these simple examples that truly will change the world. I really want to thank you for having this chat and doing this interview with us.
Peter, it was a pleasure. I enjoyed it. Thanks a lot.